Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. You are tuned in to the best thing about a Thursday night, the Third and Long podcast. Just, it's been a quiet couple of days. My name is Shane Harris, obviously. You know the gentleman above me, Ollie Hope, Oliver Butler Henderson. Any news this week, boys? Anything you want to bring up?
No, I've not noticed anything.
No, it's been quiet, no?
Yeah, very.
Hey, there he is.
And of course, the incomparable Mr. Philip Perrins, fashionably late as usual.
He's still on strike, that's what it is.
We've got a comment saying...
Are we all funny this evening?
Brady Goat, apparently. Good afternoon, Dave, or good evening. In fact.
Oh, of course, Dave. I completely forgot about that. That Tom bloke retired, didn't he?
He did indeed, man. He did indeed. Why am I trying to show it to people?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we covered this last year, but no, we're back again.
On the same episode.
Wow.
He did it this time last year. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, except we weren't playing mini golf this time.
No, we were, which is crazy.
Again. In fact, no, it was darts, wasn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
It was at the mini golf place.
Right, how are we all, gentlemen? It is Thursday, so how are we all?
Long week, and not even about like football news, just long week in general news.
What do you mean? You've been on strike for most of it.
Actually, all right. To get your uneducated, ignorant voice out of the way. No, I'm in the union that voted to not strike, even though I voted to strike in my union. So I, unfortunately, still had to go to school and got paid to do a job that I was willing to strike for, while some of my friends actually did go on strike and unfortunately did not get paid.
Good evening, John.
Good evening.
Hey, John.
Ollie, is it me or is it really echoey? Kate?
It is. I think it's me, so I'm going to go out and come back.
Hold
Well, let's just jump into the news. And it's not sorted.
You'll be back like before.
This is what happens when apps don't do checks, you know?
Okay, so let's just start with Brady.
Yes.
Right. Okay, let's sort it out. Let's get Brady going. It was literally this time last year, wasn't it?
Around then, yes.
And he decided to do a speech again.
Well, it wasn't as much of a speech this time.
No, thankfully. He just said he did all the emotional stuff last year. I tried to download the video, but my phone wouldn't let me download it. It was like not going to do emotional speech, going to say goodnight, good thank you to teammates, coaches, friends, family.
Phil, you're wearing a Brady jersey.
Yeah, it's the Super Bowl jersey.
Oh,
I thought it was. That's nice, size, but
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to wear a Patriots jersey. I decided to be just like Tom Brady and not wear or not mention anything about the Patriots when he retired.
Exclusive Third and Long podcast t-shirt.
Oh,
yes!
could we start selling those on
anybody
Etsy? Yeah, and start making money off of them.
Oh, yes.
They come in 32 different styles, by the way, ladies and gents.
I'm sure there's a couple of little boys in here who would probably end up wearing it.
To be fair, the person that made the t-shirts, my sister, is starting a small business on Etsy.
Oh my God, I'll
Ooh,
plug
nice.
that. I will plug that. Students of Lincroft, if you are listening, we'll make our way over to Etsy via our team's page next week.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
We'll put the link. We'll put the t-shirts on our page, on our socials, and we'll put the link for your sister's shop, and then we can go from there.
As John just said, maybe TV12 can produce them for us.
He's got enough time on his hand now. He's got enough time for them.
And
I mean, yes, we did talk
Dave
about
says
him
nice
last year,
shirts.
but they were. I tell you what, we talked about him last year. He had exactly the same thing, but What a career this gentleman's had.
Have you seen
What an
Robert Kraft has suggested that Brady retires as a Patriot?
I think it's a good idea.
I think he should.
I
I'll tell
think
you
it's
what, a lot of Patriots will say the same.
I think all this retiring as a blank is all a load of bull, to be honest.
Oh,
Stuart
do
like
you
Paul
really?
just don't turn up, or Larry Fitzgerald. Just
I
don't
do.
turn up.
It's a 1-day contract. Who cares?
Don't get paid for it. It's literally you just sign a paper to say you're a Patriot. That is it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a Raven or Bucks or whoever. That's what it is. He just, and I get it. I really do get it.
Kelly just said, I was asking after you earlier in the week, John. Apparently we've missed you. We have
missed John. Yeah, so we were talking, so it's, I think people who's had this massive like thing over the years, had all the success at one team, goes off, does what it does, sign a couple of years, and then come back, right, I'm going to sign just 1-day contract. Just get it done. I'm going to start my career. They made me. They picked me in the 6th round. He told Robert Kraft, I'm the best thing that this organization's ever had.
Wow.
And that was on day 1. He said this, it was on his documentary. He said this on day 1, hi, I'm Tom. And he goes, yeah, I know you are. You're our 6th pick, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, yeah, I'd like to thank you. But this is the best decision this organization has ever made.
And he wasn't wrong.
No. 6 rings. 10 appearances 9 appearances to the big show with the big blue from the New England. Countless records, countless touchdowns, and he's even a 1,000-yard rusher. We can't forget that.
And 3 Super Bowl losses.
Yeah, 2 of them to New York.
I mean, I was saying in the group yesterday. Well, yesterday to you, Ollie, in terms of when we talk about like quarterbacks and when we rank them, and you go like your A tier, your B tier, your C tier, etc., etc. But like for like Tom Brady, he has reached like the sport that we love, in the Super Bowl era. He's up there with Brady. Well, you got Brady, Montana, Bradshaw, Unitas, in terms of what I would call God tier. Like they are so far removed from any other player in that competition. It's not even ridiculous. I mean, talk about his era of the last 20 years. He's gone up against and beaten. Remember this, beaten Ben Roethlisberger, Hall of Famer. He's beaten Peyton Manning, Hall of Famer. He's beaten Drew Brees, will be a Hall of Famer. Aaron Rodgers will be a Hall of Famer. Brett Favre is a Hall of Famer. Like he's beaten the best in that era, and he's beaten the best in this current era as well in terms of like your Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, he's beat Patrick Mahomes. He's beat Lamar Jackson. He's beaten Josh Allen. He's beaten every top quarterback bar Brock Purdy, but he's just so far up there in terms of how amazing he is, and we're not going to see that again in our lifetime. Like genuinely, we're not going to see that dominance again in our lifetime.
Well, it's like Dre Greenlaw said when he went up after the game and asked Tom Brady to sign his intercepted ball that he intercepted off Tom Brady because he knew he wouldn't get the chance again.
Yeah. And yet, I can't remember who it was now, the guy who picked up Aaron Rodgers, the Lions guy, he went up to him, look, can I have your shirt? Can we swap shirts? And he goes, no, I'd rather keep this one. That gives him the impression that everyone he's going to retire. Yet Tom Brady goes, yeah, no problem at all. You just fair play to you. It just shows the different levels.
I don't think Rodgers will retire now. Brady has.
No.
I don't think Rodgers' ego will allow him to almost, play second fiddle to Brady.
That's so true. I mean, like with Brady's, I just got his list of achievements in his career on Wikipedia. It'll take me about 3 weeks to read it all, because as we've already established, he is a god tier quarterback and probably one of the best, if not the best, to ever do it. And to say that when you come from any other team that isn't the Pats and isn't the Bucks is an achievement.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: he went from. Go on.
I I just want to say, to be honest, Dave, I don't really care where Rodgers goes as long as he's not wearing red and gold next season.
Let's put it this way. He went from Patriots, who were up there. You got to the playoffs that season. They got through to the divisional round. They lost in the divisional round that year. He goes, right, I've had enough. I'm going to walk away. Went to Tampa Bay, who that year were 7-9 or 6-10 record.
With a quarterback that was an interception machine.
Yeah. Took them to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl with them in their first season. Remember, under COVID.
Yeah, that's unreal.
In
Absolutely.
COVID. He was keeping himself fit. He was always in contact with the new Tampa Bay guys, getting to know them, understand them. And when they were allowed to train again, that's when he hit his stride with them, because he knew a bit more about them, understood them, knew what they liked and things, and had a rapport with them already. I wouldn't see someone like Aaron Rodgers doing that.
Ollie,
Aaron Rodgers slating this as a leather.
How successful do you think New England would have been under Drew Bledsoe at that time?
I think that first season, legitimately, and so obviously, Ollie, you being the Patriots fan, I do think that first Super Bowl season, I think they were going to win, because Drew Bledsoe was. We talk about like the Brady era, but Drew Bledsoe was the guy. Like, he was playing well. He was a really, really solid quarterback. I think they would have won that first Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
They'd just given him a massive contract, hadn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was difficult to get rid of.
He was the first round pick. He was the last first round pick quarterback we had pre-Mac. Obviously, we had Brady for 23 years, so we didn't need 20 years. So we didn't need to worry about it.
John just come saying, just when you thought you couldn't hate Brady anymore, in response to the Vader comments. Dave said, I don't think this is a bad thing, because you can have that Adams link up again. And to be fair,
yeah, but they had that with Derek Carr. They had that link up with Derek Carr.
Yeah, but Rodgers to Adams is like legendary.
Right. Yeah. Unpopular opinion here. If I wouldn't take Rodgers over Carr, if I was going to Las Vegas,
you would.
The fact that Rodgers is starting to feel it now. I think. He's getting knocked around. He's getting hurt a lot. Yes, the O-line in Las Vegas is pretty solid, but you've got a younger, more mobile quarterback in Derek Carr, or you've got someone who could literally do a Drew Brees and just go off a cliff straight away.
Yeah,
and I think Brady knew that going this season. He goes, right, if I do another season, I'm literally just going to fall off the cliff. It could be game 1, it could be game 13, 14. That's why Brady's gone, right, this is it. I need to walk away. And he's always said he knew when it was time. He said he wanted to play the 45, but he knew it would be time. And now this is where he's gone. Yeah, that's it.
Green Bay did win one Super Bowl.
I was going to say the only
opponent.
They're the opponent. No stopped.
Yeah, they beat the Steelers. Was it 2010?
Something like that. I thought it was 2009. I had it. But I think 2009.
It might have been. Yeah, they won it the season after the Saints, didn't they?
But John, who do you want under center next year then?
I think it's going to be Garoppolo.
Ooh.
Because now that Brady's retired, Jimmy Garoppolo is the only quarterback currently in the NFL that has more than one ring.
Well, until Green Bay win on not Green Bay, Kansas win on the 12th.
But does Jimmy have 3?
No, I think Jimmy only has 2.
Does he?
2, yeah.
Okay. Well, now I want the Eagles to win more.
I want the Chiefs to win.
I actually, best case scenario, just a massive explosion happens, killing no people whatsoever, but wiping out both teams.
Link up again. Yeah, the Josh McDaniels link up. And then as a replacement, they put in both the losing NFC teams,
which I think would be a better game. But then again, I think we'd still lose because we don't even have a quarterback.
No, because Garoppolo will be back. Garoppolo is going to be back for the Super Bowl.
Yay.
Green Bay won the Super Bowl in 2011 with a 31-25 win over Pittsburgh. That's the last time they won the Super Bowl. That's the last time they went to the Super Bowl.
So Dave is also playing the supporting the Eagles. Yeah, well, I mean, every other time in the playoffs, they got knocked out by the 49ers.
Yeah, see, I've got a little man in there who you can probably just about see his Kansas City Chief hoodie over my right shoulder. So yeah,
Is he staying up for the Super Bowl, Ollie?
How is your school?
Oh, give him the day off.
There's your short answer.
And he's at his mum's, so don't open. But no, it's going back to Brady. No, we're never going to see a single person win 7 Super Bowls here. Never.
Unlikely.
His records may be passed, probably will be passed. But
the
not
only
the rings.
person I think that has the chance of winning 7 Super Bowls at the moment in the league, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's probably the best shout. And I will say personally, from a personal standpoint, the only opponent that Rodgers, Brady, Joe Namath, Terry Bradshaw, Trent Dilfer couldn't stop is Father Time. It comes to us. It comes to us all, and fair play to Tom Brady. He's a hell of a career, and just coming from me, I wish him all the best in his future endeavors.
There's a certain Buffalo quarterback at the moment playing in the AT&T Pro-Am.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that. Like,
he's not even worried about the NFL at the moment. He's playing at the AT&T. I think he's playing alongside. No, he's actually playing alongside at the moment. Yeah, it's going to be.
You're the golf guru here, Ollie.
Yeah, I can't think. I don't know. I haven't seen who he's playing against. I know Gareth Bale's with Justin Rose. But, yeah.
The only way I knew Brady played golf was because he cameoed in an episode of Entourage one time, and he was playing golf, and that's how I knew. Yeah, my favorite show.
To be fair, he does strike me as a massive golf fan. To be fair, like there's just something about Brady that just screams middle class golfer.
As John says, lots of rings, but he's never beaten the Ravens, Niners, or Raiders in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Brady did that game against Rodgers with DeChambeau and Mickelson, didn't he?
And he also played Mahomes and Allen, who was against Brady and Rodgers as well.
Oh yeah, when somebody asked Josh Allen what his biggest weakness was, and Patrick Mahomes said a coin toss.
Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely. Right. Before we go on to the other bit of news, as per usual, we are doing our NFL third and long awards.
Yep.
The voting is open on Twitter for MVP, offensive player, defensive player, rookie offensive, rookie defensive, coach, and comeback. Head on to our Twitter, which is rolling across the bottom, to vote.
I know the NFL honors on the 11th.
Left.
I know the NFL honors on the 11th, but this is the ones that the players really want.
Oh, yeah, yes. Of course it is. Of course it is.
Most definitely.
I look forward to Nick Bosa his award and saying, sorry, who are you again?
Right. On to the news, gentlemen. Some head coaching roles have been filled. Denver have signed or traded for Sean Payton from the Saints.
Yes, wow. This first round pick from the Niners is being passed around like peanuts. Fourth team that had it.
It's mad. They're following the Rams concept of F them picks.
Well, I mean, it went from the Niners to the Dolphins to the Broncos to the Saints. So just to put that into concept, it was sort of the Broncos traded Chubb and a second for Payton, sort of.
Yeah. Phil had something really good to say about this the other day when this trade was announced in the group chat. Would you care to elaborate?
Which one was this?
About
in terms of Sean Payton?
Yeah.
Am I genuinely the only one that's not excited about this in terms of Sean Payton going to Broncos? Like, genuinely, I don't think
anybody.
No, but like in general, Sean Payton hasn't been relevant since he won the Super Bowl with the Saints in 2009, has he?
Correct. 2010, yeah.
Not
Was it 2000?
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, that is 2000. Was it the 9 seed? Yeah. Okay.
sorry, it was
Um,
2009, yeah. But anyway, go on.
And what was the actual words that I used, Ollie, to describe this? Because I can't remember off
You
the top of
said,
my head.
I think it was. Am I the only one not like
Not
claiming
excited.
them?
Yeah.
Yeah. You were saying
Yeah, because
everything else
Sean
was
Peters going to be
saying-
the instant fix.
Yeah.
No, because I don't think he is. Like Broncos, the only thing that Denver has going for them is that they're owned by Walmart and they are filthy rich. Like they're actually really, really filthy rich,
Walmart.
ridiculously
I didn't
rich.
know that.
Yeah, they're ridiculously rich. No decent head coaches want to go to. Right, there's two destinations I don't think NFL coaches were going to actually pick upon. One is Arizona because I don't think any decent coach wants to be tied to the hip with Kyler Murray for the next 4 years. The other one is going to Denver where they have nothing to offer. Like they've got no picks. They've given Russell Wilson this stupid long-term contract where at no point did he see any point last season where he actually looked like he was worth this contract. They're kind of like bubbling towards the top of the cap space. Their defense is about to fall apart because they're about to hit free agency. This is going to be a team. This is going to be years in rebuilding, like we're going to see with the Rams. Like
I mean,
Sean Payton is going to want to come into a super team because I think he sees himself as a super coach. But I generally don't see this being a really good thing. I mean, I'm happy to eat my own, humble pie with a side of crow, but I don't think this is going to be. I don't think this is going to be any good.
I've got two. I've got two things. Number one, you're right. Nobody wanted to go to the Broncos. If you look at who turned them down, Dan Quinn turned them down. D'Amico Ryan turned them down. Somebody else, who I can't remember off the top of my head.
Jim Harbaugh turned them down.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh turned them down. And number two, I think what Peyton wanted was a lot of money, which, like, being paid a lot. And I also think he wanted a lot of power. I feel like, although they do have a GM, I'm not sure how much power the GM now actually has over anything.
Yeah.
And I think the GM will be the pin to fall before Peyton. And I think Wilson will be the pin to fall before Peyton.
John's comment here. Wilson was going to be the fix and failed. Now they've taken Peyton. Will they succeed?
No.
Well, they need to stay together because they can't afford to get rid of Wilson. Whether they'll succeed or not.
I have a feeling Wilson threw Hackett under the bus. Wilson threw Hackett under that bus, yeah. Because they were tied to that contract. They were tied, so he had to. It was like, you're going under that bus. And I don't think Wilson respected Hackett's decisions since they went to Seattle and lost.
I mean, Wilson looked better after Hackett had gone. I don't think.
But don't we say the same thing in our football? In terms of when like players down their tools, get a manager sacked, and someone comes in. Oh, look at us, we're playing we're playing amazing football. Didn't Manchester United do that, Ollie? For like, didn't they do that when they threw Jose under the bus? When they threw Ollie under the bus? I mean, it happens in all sports.
Ollie and Ralph Rangnick under the bus.
Yeah,
Ralph Rangnick was rubbish, though.
Yeah.
Well, we'll never know because the players threw him under the bus.
Be that as it may, that is not what we're here to discuss.
But
let's discuss. Okay, fine. League Cup final. Can we discuss that instead?
No, but I mean, I'm going to take off my 49ers hat to begin with. Like, so I'm not coming at this with any kind of bias. But there's always been something that I've just never warmed to about Russell Wilson, and I mean, and especially since he's, even in his time in Seattle when players would be openly criticizing him about whether or not he's a team player or how he reacts around the locker room. And Richard Sherman does not speak a fond word of him whatsoever. I love Richard Sherman as as a 49er, but also as a commentator and someone that talks passionately about playing on on the field. And he will throw Russell Wilson under the bus. Like, he is not fond of him. And then how Pete Carroll was very happy to move on from Russell Wilson and get the picks that he needed to rebuild the Seahawks, I should say. Sorry, I'm stuttering my words today. I haven't even had a drink. But then him coming into Denver. And he's done more or less the same thing where he has rubbed players up the wrong way. and we can kind of like suggest that he downed his tools and he got Nathaniel Hackett fired. And Nathaniel Hackett is a respected coach. Like, he's a respected OC, he's a respected offensive mind.
I think he's less respected now.
You say that though, but I think he's gonna get, like Josh McDaniels, chances to redeem himself and chances to progress. I mean, this was his first head coaching job in an impossible situation where he wasn't even the first choice. Let's be honest, he wasn't even the first choice last year to take the job on. I think Broncos got desperate because they had no one else lined up, because they were trying to put all their eggs in one basket and trying to get Aaron Rodgers, so they took on Hackett thinking that would convince Aaron Rodgers to come. It did not. And has he gone to the Jets now to be OC?
Yes. He's OC
Yeah.
of the Jets.
So I mean, he's going to land in a pretty good situation, and don't be surprised if the Jets have a fantastic offense next year.
Well, I mean, they need a quarterback first.
But I think they'll get a quarterback. I genuinely think they'll get a quarterback. They'll have one of the 3 quarterbacks that are going to be going around in the offseason. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Garoppolo.
John's saying, has McDaniels redeemed himself? Though I don't think
he's got one year. He's got one more year. He's got one more year. Yeah. I think if the Davises and the Raiders weren't stone cold broke, he probably would have gone when we thought he was going to go. But I think he will get one more year. He's got one steady more year in Vegas.
Yeah. Otherwise, they're going to be in a situation where Panthers are with their former head coach, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He's saying he still owes them $5 million, or they still owe him $5 million.
Yeah, not all.
They don't want to be in that situation where it could be risk of a lawsuit and something like that, which could escalate costs.
I think that runs very well onto the Texans, who are currently playing 3 head coaches.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was it that came out at the beginning of I think it was just after October, November time, when Roger Goodell came out and said how much money franchises were paying coaches that aren't even in the league anymore, that don't even, it was like close to $1 billion. Was it like nearly $1 billion or 800 million or something like that? It was a ridiculous amount of money.
In fact, they might be paying 4 coaches. I think they're probably still playing Bill O'Brien too.
That's ridiculous, man. Which blows my mind that D'Amico actually went to Texan. It blows my mind.
I mean, I think it was the connection that he used to play there. It's a decent situation. They've given him a 6-year deal. They're not just going to sack him after a year. They can't afford to do that.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see a certain number 99 on that coaching staff.
Yeah, I would say. I actually said to my sister the other day.
No, that's not a bad shot at all.
He should get. I said to my sister the other day, he should get JJ on the staff.
Yeah.
Or they should put him under that horse mascot thing. Being part of the organization somehow, serving popcorn, selling burgers. I don't know.
Yeah. We've just got some breaking news from Dave. Eagles are falling. Oh yeah, we saw.
Yeah, we saw that yesterday.
That was not yesterday. That's big news though, isn't it? It's just what you need to run it up to the Super Bowl when your lineman indicted. Yeah, great that, wasn't it? So how do you feel, 49er guys? That way, something like that. Yeah, that way. About your defensive coordinator leaving you, because obviously you were both very passionate. You both really liked him. You thought he was a really good addition to your team, and you did really well with your defense. Obviously, you're the number 1 defense this year. How do you feel you're going to survive, or be able to move on? That's a better word from D'Amico.
I feel like Salah built a really good defense in 2019. I feel like D'Amico built, not rebuilt, but added to that defense and made number 1 defense. I don't think the next defensive coordinator, whether it be Fangio, whether it be
It's not Fangio. Fangio's signed to go to Miami.
Not officially.
Okay. Well, I don't think it's going to be Fangio.
Nothing's been officially announced.
I think it's going to be Steve Wilkes from Panthers.
Yeah, whether it's Wilkes or whether it's somebody else, I don't think they need to make that many tweaks to the defense to carry on as being a great defense. I'm not saying we're going to be number 1 next year, because I don't think they'll be as good as D'Amico, but I don't think there needs to be that many changes. So I think we will be okay. provided we re-sign certain players who are going to be a free agent, basically named Jimmy Ward.
I think there's three players that we need to prioritize in re-signing. One is Jimmy Ward, one is Mosley, one is Robbie Gould. I'm devastated for D'Amico, but at the same time, he is going to Houston. I genuinely never thought he'd have a Scooby-Doo or interest in going into Denver, considering that he actually blames Denver for why his career cut short, because he blames the artificial pitch at in Denver for why he was why he had to finish.
He did straight up turn Denver down.
Yeah, that's why, because like when it was a whole thing about he was never going to go there because he blames Denver for why his career ended. I said on Monday, and
sorry, come on.
Sorry, I said on Monday about the 49ers window and how I don't think Kyle's ever going to win a big one. Our window is getting smaller with this team. And I think obviously losing Salah I absolutely love. D'Amico I absolutely love, and I wish them both so much. Like, I actually pay attention to the Jets now on a Sunday because I want them to do well. I think I'm going to pay interest to the Texans because I want them to do well because of the coaches involved. I don't think that we will be as good as next year as we were this year. I generally don't, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a big drop off because I think our time is coming to a close with this current team.
Wow.
So look at the Texans. They got the number 2 pick. I think they've got 9 or 10 picks this year. They have a QB there. Do they go for QB? They have got 37.1 million in cap space going to this season.
Well, I mean, now it's been announced, and this has been announced officially. The Bears have decided that they're going to stick with Justin Fields,
which they should.
Yeah,
don't blame them.
If they don't trade the number 1 pick away, which they may do, they may not do. I don't know what's inside Ryan Pace's head. But if they don't, then the Broncos will have, not the Broncos, the Texans will have free reign to pick any quarterback they want, whether it be Bryce Young, DJ Stroud, or Will Levis. So therefore, I think they will go QB2. I think they have a pick at the end of the first round too, where they get maybe a wide receiver like Zay Flowers or someone. So I think, that's confirmed, is it, Ollie?
That's my hope.
So therefore, I think that the Texans could actually have a decent team next year using the 10 picks they have, if they're used well.
If you look,
you saw what drafting well for traditionally weak organizations done this year. You look at the Jets and the Lions.
And the Jags.
Exactly, and the Jags, yeah. And you've seen how historically rubbish they've been, but just go to show that it's really important how well you draft.
I mean, there's a few teams in this draft that have 2 picks.
Yeah.
Seattle's one of them. Detroit's another one. There's a few others as well off the top of my head, I can't think. Those 2 don't really need a quarterback, but they can really put the fox amongst the chickens and go for that number 1 slot and really worry a few people, or even go, look, we've got 2 picks. We want that number 1 slot for Will Anderson or the top wide receiver or the top cornerback in this league, in this draft, and really put the cat amongst the pigeons. That's what I was like.
And I mean, the Texans aren't in the strongest division in the AFC South.
No.
I mean, I think the Jags will progress. I'm not sure if the Titans are going to short their stuff out. The Colts are the Colts. Let's see who they get a head coach before. Or have they announced a head coach?
Not yet, no. They reckon it's going to go to a 3rd round of interviews.
Let's see who gets the Indianapolis head coaching job. But I mean, there are definitely stronger divisions out there than the AFC South. So I think the Texans actually have a good shot at making the playoffs next year if they draft well. And D'Amico Ryans is as good as a head coach as he is a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, so you're thinking he'll do well in Texas?
I do.
You're right.
Look how many would. Can't do any worse, can he? You know, anything's an improvement from last year.
I
Yeah, I mean,
think he's been told you have 3 years. If you don't make the playoffs after that 3 years, then we need to have a talk.
yeah, I mean, he's got, like I say, he's got the 5th cap record. He's got a good amount of picks. You could do a really good building job here, and he's not
You
the
have
talent's there.
you have people to build your team around. You have Damian Pierce, Derek Stingley Jr.
Yeah.
They have some good young talent.
But in all honesty, the only thing that NFL coaches really need, which they can't put a price on, is time. Because football fans and especially owners are so fickle, they want instant success. You know, especially with teams, when you've got historically good teams like the Niners, like the Cowboys, who used to be doing the 90s, they were brilliant, you know, when they've dropped off. There's no like patience anymore. So but I think with organizations like the Texans, who need time to rebuild, the head office, the backroom staff have got to be patient with a new coach.
Yeah, completely honestly agree. But unfortunately, they want that instant success, don't they? You know, you've seen, especially this year now, you've seen the Jags go Jags. You've seen the Giants. You've seen 6 teams from last season make the playoffs that weren't in the playoffs. Jags, Giants. There's a few others I can't remember off the top of my head.
two of them even made the divisional round.
Yeah, you know, it's mad. And they're sitting there going, well, they've done it. Why can't you do it?
Yeah.
Completely different situation, you know. You had with Dayball, you had Danny Dimes, who's not a bad quarterback. You had a fit Barkley for a whole season for the first time in about 3 years. There's your X factor. Yes, okay, they went through blooming running backs like paper cups, but not running backs, wide receivers. But you had that 2 staple, and they had a fairly good O-line. They had some good O-line players come back as well. Jacksonville, they had a quarterback who had a proper coach under his behind him, supporting him. He had some good weapons. They improved. Now, this is what teams need to see. Okay, you need a quarterback. We'll go and get you a quarterback, whether it's a veteran or whether it's one of the top rookies they've got coming in. And then you've got to build on that and give the guy a chance. Go 2 or 3 seasons and then see what happens. You've got to have an improvement every season. If you don't improve season 2, then it's...
Let's put it this way. He's inherited a mess in Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to give him time to clear up that mess and then try and improve.
Put the fire out first.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Completely.
Don't try and rebuild a building if it's still on fire.
Indeed,
I like that one.
Completely. Let's go quickly through the draft order before we have this week in football. So we have got, if I just bring it up, we've got Chicago Bears, I think we've already stated, at number 1, Texans at 2, Cardinals at 3, Broncos. No, I haven't got Broncos. I've got the wrong order.
Seahawks via Broncos at 4, at 5.
That's it.
Lions via Rams at 6. Raiders 7, Falcons 8, Panthers 9, Eagles via Saints at 10. Titans 11, Texans from the Browns at 12, Jets 13, you guys Patriots at 14, Packers at 15, Commanders 16, 17 Steelers, 18 Lions. 19 I think it's Bucks.
Yeah.
20 Seahawks, 21 Chargers. It's gone off my screen now.
22
Ravens, 23 Vikings, 24 the Jags, 25 the Giants, 26 at Dallas, 27 at Buffalo, 28 at Cincinnati, 29 are all the other teams.
Saints via the Broncos via Miami via San Francisco.
Yeah, literally it's gone through every team. And with the 14th pick, New England Patriots will be picking Zay Flowers.
And then we have the 2 Super Bowl teams at 30 and 31 because, of course, the Dolphins have forfeited their first round pick due to tampering with Sean Payton and Tom Brady.
And pretty much every other thing they can go for. Mr. Phil, are you ready?
Now, before I start with my this week in football, because I've got some 3 really, really juicy pieces of news. Did anybody see the video that I shared on our Facebook feed earlier, where my boy Shannon Sharp, who I love so much,
Yeah.
interviewed Chad, the one and only Ocho Cinco Johnson?
I did not.
I did, yes.
Oh, it is
I got told off
absolutely
for watching it.
amazing. He had this really, really good sit down interview about how during his NFL career he didn't spend 83% of his earnings, because he was just talking about how frugal he was. And he talked about like how his first year in the NFL, he actually lived in the stadium as a rookie. He didn't excessively spend his money. He lived on site because he was like going, well, why am I paying to live elsewhere when I can have free accommodation, free bathroom, I've got the canteen, I've got the gym, I've got my accommodation, I've got my games complex. Why do I need to live anywhere else? And he was just kind of like a really, really cool thing, because I thought he was talking about, he said like he never wore real jewelry. He went to Claire's, he bought fake. Because he said, why am I spending so much money when I could just look the exact same
I
for
remember
considerably less?
I remember he said to Shannon Sharp, "What time is it?" And
Yeah.
Shannon Sharp told the time. He's like, "How much does that cost me? Why do I need a big, flashy watch?" And he's like, "I didn't fly private. I flew with Spirit. Just give me a window seat and coach."
Yeah, and he said that, and he was asked, he was genuinely asked, and I love this about him. I mean, like Shannon Sharp was like, "What? It was the one thing that you regret paying for?" And he went, "All the cars." And Shannon was like, "What do you mean all your cars?" And he went, "Well, he never bought a car, he leased." And he was like going, "I didn't want to own the car, I just leased, so I spent a ridiculous amount of money on like your Ferraris, your Audis, and things like that." Going, "Yeah, I could have just burnt the money. Like I never owned it, I leased it, and I gave it back once it was done." I was like, "Oh Jesus!" And I always loved him as a player, but I just listened to that interview, just going, "Jesus Christ, Shannon!" Like, Ocho, I wish more players, especially athletes, because he said like, rappers and athletes that spend so much money, they're the quickest to go broke because they're trying to maintain that lifestyle. And I look in the
100%.
league now in terms of like some of our players, and we'll talk about like Debo, who we absolutely love, but like Debo's constantly flashing how much money he owns, and I'm just going, "Oh, Debo, do you really need to do that now that we can see Ocho Cinco? He's uber experienced. He was just as talented as you, if not, you're slightly better than him, Debo." And I just thought it was a really, really. Oh no, I just think Debo has more accessibility than Ocho. I love Ocho, but I think Debo can offer a little bit more. I just thought it was a really, really good sit down. So if you haven't had a chance, ladies and gents, to listen to it or watch it, please do, because I absolutely love it.
It's on our Facebook page, Phil. I believe you shared it.
Yes, yeah, I did. So this week in sports history. In 1926, this very week, massive news. Nearly 100 years ago, the NFL rules dictated that students that wanted to be drafted into the National Football League needed to get a college graduation. That meant that they had to sit all the way through college, make sure they go to their classes, get a bachelor degree once they come out of it to be eligible to be drafted into the NFL. A precedent that has gone through all American sports, and I actually think would be beneficial if in the UK and the West, when it comes to our soccer, we actually did the exact same thing. Huge. I know I say it every week when I do This Week in Football, but genuinely, this is a massive thing, because I do speak a lot in my school, especially to like students. When I talk about like my love for American sports, if there's one thing Americans do, is that by their education system going into their athletic system, I just love their process, because they make the athletes work for it, not just on the field, but actually the student has to come first.
John's just come up saying, "I'll have a watch." He sounds like a humble guy.
Oh, I love Shannon Sharp. So those two together are absolutely dynamite. This week in football history, in 1969, you might have heard of this legendary NFL coach. John Madden was named the coach of the NFL's Oakland Raiders. He became the most winningest coach in NFL history, winning multiple games, and he finally got the big one, the Super Bowl.
I may have heard of him. Yeah, played a game or two.
Yeah, massive. I love John Madden. So we're talking about the hiring of a to become future Hall of Famer in 1969. Jerry Jones strikes first in 1989. The Dallas Cowboys fire Tom Landry, after a 29-year career. In that 29 career, he won 2 Super Bowls and helped create the dynasty that would still be known as America's Team.
The biggest inverted commas money you can buy.
Every dynasty team since have called themselves America's Team. The 49ers, the Cowboys again, the Ravens, all the Patriot stuff.
All the Patriot stuff.
All the Patriot stuff across multiple decades. Oh my god, I'm only jealous. Like I'm really jealous because you maintain your dynasty whilst ours crashed and burned and still lives in the 90s. But yeah, so I've got some really good ones next week. But just looking at it, I didn't want to talk about anything 49ers history because I've stopped talking about the 49ers this week. But yeah. The NFL changing the rules so that college students, to become eligible for the draft, they have to get their degree at college first, just to help set them up for a post-career, because we can talk about how short the career can be in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm such a big proponent of that, and I really wish that we did something similar in the UK, especially when we let a lot of boys out of academy. I mean, Ollie, you played football, didn't you, to a reasonable level, didn't you? So. And that, I mean, that's, you know, kind of like just a small extra, but like I have students that come from my classroom that are in like academies for like Luton Town and MK and Northampton, and they don't tend to make it, and then they come out of the academies at 18 and have no direction because they've spent their whole life thinking they're going to be a footballer. So I think that's just a really, really important thing that Americans do exceptionally better than we do.
But that NFL rule must have changed now, because you can come out of 3 years now.
But they can come out with a half honours, or they can get a bachelor without honours.
Okay, and obviously in NBA you can be like one and done now, so you can just do 1 year of college, which I think is totally wrong. I think.
Oh no, I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong as well. But like, I know they do that in the MLB, in terms of they have to get their degree. But like in terms of our NFL, I think in the NBA it's down to credits, isn't it? In terms of how many credits you get for that one particular year, whether or not you would pass that year. But because obviously we had that LeBron thing, didn't we, where he completely skipped college and went straight into the pros.
There are quite a few players now that are coming straight from high school to the pros.
Yeah, and I generally think that's the wrong way. I know the career span of an athlete is really small, and I know especially in college ball there's no money because they aren't allowed to make any.
Well, now with the NIL deals there is money.
Yeah, but it's not. It's okay. All right, I'll all right. But I just think that's such an important rule. Genuinely, such an important rule that I love. And then we could talk about John Madden. And I remember watching an America's game where they talk about firing. It was when the Cowboys won the Super Bowl in '92.
Sorry, I've just seen John's comments.
That's not what I meant. Oh my god, that's not how I meant. No, you take that back, Ollie. That's not what I meant. I'm talking about. Right, John, shut your mouth, mate. You support the Raiders.
Right.
Listen, John, my Geordie brethren, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Right, I will say this though. I was in the academy, and my last year at school, pretty much from day one of coming at, don't worry, once this is over, you will be given a full full contract. You will be made it. We've decided you are given this contract. All the way through my last year at school, received a letter after taking my exams, before my results, saying we're letting you go. And I happily admit, going, I didn't put in. I probably put about 50% into the exams because I thought I'd made it. Yes, done. Yeah. That's it. I made it, and I made it. And I wish I had someone now going, I feel, or I'd be telling that one upstairs, if you get it, education first. Education first. If they really, really want you, they will take you.
Yeah.
Don't believe everything they say. Get your education first, and that goes for anyone.
I mean, I'm a big proponent, and I've never said to any student when they go, I want to be a footballer, the first thing I ask is like, all right, do you play for a team? Are you in an academy? And then I've never put down a student in terms of going, well, you're not going to make it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's always great to have a backup plan, because I mean, especially in the grand scheme of things, a footballer's career is not long considering the lifespan of a human being. I mean, I'm of that age now that if I was a professional footballer, I would be looking to retire or post-retirement plans. And I think
It's
having
mad
a
to
second
think
option.
that.
6 years
Yeah.
good for me.
Um, but I'm always such a big proponent of having a backup, like having a contingency. I don't know whether that's just my upbringing or how I was brought up by my parents, but always have a backup plan. And
Yeah.
it's,
Have you
I do that to teaching as well. If a lesson goes wrong, what's my backup plan? What have I got as my ace in the hole? Just always be prepared.
Have you guys watched the Michigan Wolverines All or Nothing? Because something I took from that is I think it was Rashawn Gary was talking to his guidance counselor, and they were like, "What do you want to do?" He's like, "What do you want to do?" He's like, "I want to play in the NFL." And then the guidance counselor says, "What does the NFL stand for? Not for long. What do you want to do after that?"
Whoa.
Ah,
Nice. I like
So
that.
the average NFL career is 4 years.
yeah.
Oh my
4
God.
years. And that's
Yeah.
probably extended by 2 years because of Tom Brady. But yeah, the average NFL career is 4 years. But considering the season 16 weeks, that's a year.
That's insane to think about.
Well, it's a bit more than 16. It's 18 now. But yeah, it's a year. It's an absolute year. But yeah. Just on a quick caveat, very quickly, as Mr. Hopes alluded to, I am a golfer and I do follow golf. This weekend is the AT&T at Pebble Beach and Shalahawk, I think they're playing at, which is pretty much Pebble Beach anyway. And there are 5 former NFL players four former NFL players, one current. 3 Hall of Famer, his love child, Steve Young.
The great
Is it?
Steve Young, by the way. Can we just do that as a prefix, please?
Just-
The great Steve Young.
Super Bowl winner Steve Young.
3-time Super Bowl winner Steve Young. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we got Alex Smith, the former Niners and
Wait, he played for San Francisco?
no, former Chiefs and Washington. So I meant, sorry. The former O-line Harris Burton's also in there. Future Hall of Famer Larry Fitzgerald, and someone who's probably not going to make the 4th round is Josh Allen because he chokes at the final.
Hope you can hear this, Josh.
That was a setup then. You set all that up just for that little joke at the end, didn't you?
I appreciate that, Ollie.
If I'm honest, that was off the top of my head. I wish I actually thought I'd set that up, but yeah.
I also quite appreciated Shane not understanding the irony of Phil's voice when he said, "Did Alex Smith play for the 49ers?"
I thought he did, but I must be getting the Commanders confused. My mistake.
No, Smith did play for the 49ers for about 10 years.
Bryce stop confusing me. I thought I was right. I knew it.
It was that bad. He had me confused.
I know. He just
Yeah, I had an Alex Smith jersey, and I still think those years were just absolutely dark days. He was bad. He was really bad. Just last little news. I know I tagged you into it, Shano, but there's a new 30 for 30 documentary that's appearing where it's talking about the NFL's meanest team, the 2000 Baltimore Ravens. And I don't know if you saw the trailer for it, Shano, but did you see that they really focused on the elite players in that Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl winning team? And at no point during the footage or the interview segments did they ever allude to the fact that Trent Dilfer was on the team but did not contribute to their success.
Sorry, Phil. Can we add a prefix to Trent Dilfer, the Super Bowl winning Trent Dilfer, if you please? The documentary is called The Bullies of Baltimore, and I cannot wait to see it. I think it's out.
It looks really good. Yeah.
Next week, I think it is something like that, but I will be watching. I'm going to show you.
So back to present day, not the Stone Ages that we're talking about.
Oh, but I like what about?
So the NFL Skills Showdown is tonight before the Pro Bowl flag football game on Sunday. I know.
Do we all collectively yawn then? All right, just a quick show of hands. Who's excited for the Pro Bowl? Okay, case closed. Moved on.
I was going to say,
Right, it's been a good lesson.
I was going to say, I know.
Good episode, boys. Good episode. Let's ride. Let's ride.
I know it's a bit of a non-event, but I feel like we should at least mention that it's happening.
Go for it, Pat. So the floor is yours. Please take your time.
Oh no, I'm done. I was just.
Oh, sorry, we were still talking about the Pro Bowls.
All I was saying is, I just feel like we need to mention that it is actually happening. We can move on now, but I just
called
wanted
it
to
flag
say.
football this year.
I know. I mean, they're not even lying. Just to be fair, I don't know whether or not this is lost on me. I don't know. It's because like we live in the UK and we're actually just waiting for the Super Bowl, which we're so much more excited about. But like, has anybody ever cared about the Pro Bowl? Out of the four of us,
I enjoy watching this skill showdown.
okay.
I mean,
Because they haven't done that for years.
No, they do it every year. They just don't show it usually.
Okay, that's probably right.
But they just bring it up on this year. Last year, I when the Pro Bowl was on, I was in a hotel in Stansted Airport. I just landed from Berlin, and I didn't even watch it.
Why do you get up out, mind?
I had to stay in Stansted Airport because I couldn't get to London in time to make a train to Bath. It was actually very stressful at the time.
How expensive was your hotel?
Expensive enough because there was only 2 to choose from.
Now, me and Shane, every year, we don't tend to watch the Pro Bowl, do we, Shane? Do we?
We do not, but we do not.
Because normally the night of the Pro Bowl is, historically when Vince McMahon has done the Royal Rumble. So we've been watching. We have for 20 years watched other sports entertainment, other than the Pro Bowl. But even though it's on the weekend where it's not the Royal Rumble, I don't know if I want to watch it.
I think the Pro Bowl is a commercial game
100%.
I mean, the skill showdown is tonight. That is actually quite fun to watch. It's being repeated on Sky tomorrow, I think.
It's live at Sky at midnight. Yeah, it's on tomorrow and Saturday. I think they're showing it. Sky FM.
Set your Sky recorders for that then. Should be thrilling.
Yeah, I mean, obviously dodgeball's quite good because it's where the wide receivers literally do what they do every day. Then you got the diving catch as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Didn't Stephon Diggs dive for a table last year?
Oh,
typical Bills player.
Somebody, I think it was Trayvon Diggs, flipped over his kid and caught a ball.
That's cool.
Yeah, there was Diggs on Diggs last year. That was quite good. Yeah. And Matt Jones videoing.
And of course, they'll have the quarterback throwing competition.
You may have my interest.
The cornerback competition with the wall. Wonder if they'll do the race this year, which Tyreek Hill lost last year, which was quite funny.
He didn't even bother. He just jogged across the line, didn't he? Yeah.
Micah Parsons won and was crowned the fastest player in the
NFL. Definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of another wonderful episode of the Third and Long podcast. You will be seeing us in the next few weeks with that t-shirt. Well, not that t-shirt on, but our version of the t-shirts on.
Well, I'll have it on. I'll have it on, Ollie.
I cannot wait.
Are we planning to sell them? Are we going to put them on Etsy?
If there's interest, why not?
I'll start raising the profile in the off season. I mean, it's going to be big when the XFL hits anyway. So let's see if we can get some XFL merch.
It's all right. If you want me to model, I'll model, and I've got previous modeling experience. I can't believe I haven't told you.
We could sell calendars of us being promiscuous in the t-shirt.
Ooh, I was going to say I used to be a model. I used to model socks and gloves. You know. Oh come on, it's funnier than that.
Sorry. I was laughing.
Not on the inside.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ollie. That's also Ollie. That's Phil. I almost got it wrong. And that one in the bottom corner with the white top is Shano. We'll be back on Thursday. We are not doing a Monday night show because let's talk about the Pro Bowl every week.
Big Super Bowl show next week.
Next
Super Bowl.
Thursday, 8:30, previewing the Super Bowl. Good night. Stay safe.